Hey everyone, welcome to episode 5 of iSampleU. If you haven't checked out my previous videos, please go check out episodes 1 through 4. They were all so much fun to make and the submissions were all super great. I've received over 20 very unique samples, so I'm excited to see what direction this project is going to take. This week's submission was a YouTube video submitted by my good friend Justin Hoak. Let's check it out.
Oh boy. Get out of the way, Mr. Peanut. Oh shit. Get out of the way. Mr. Oh, boom, 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 boom. Mr. Peanut. Mr. Peanut. Oh my God. Oh my God. Mr. Peanut.
So one of the first things I did is I listened to the full sample and I picked out this one part.
Oh shit. Get out.
And so with that, I kind of was thinking of a Fergie London Bridge type vibe. After putting on the NLS channel plugin and bringing down the gain by 12 decibels, I brought on the FabFilter Pro Q3 and gave it a pretty big boost around 438 hertz and a duck around 2300 hertz and a little bit of boost in the high end around 6200 hertz. Then I brought on the SSL channel plugin from Waves that has all kinds of EQ knobs. So I ducked a little bit of the low mids, boosted the high mids a pretty fair amount, and really gave it a boost to the highs so it would stand out a little bit more. I brought on the CLA2A compressor and gave it a pretty good amount of compression and the little altar boy to lower the pitch and the formant so it sounds like it's kind of a deeper voice. And with everything on there, it sounds like this.
Oh shit.
Next I took this part of the video. With those longer tones, I knew I'd be able to make some kind of synthy lead sound out of it, like I usually do. So I bounced it out and put it into the quick sampler as usual, put on the NLS channel, brought down the gain, brought the Pro Q3 in here. Then I used the same SSL channel plugin and the same compression with the CLA2A so that those two would sound pretty similar. But then I busted out to the Soundtoys Echo Boy so it would have a nice stereo echo, and I sent it out to the micro shifter to give it a little bit more of a chorus effect. And I played a little line on my keyboard, and it sounded like this. Next, I took this part of the sample. And because there were a lot of little short transients in there, I thought I could make some kind of hi-hat sound out of it. So I bounced it out and put it in the quick sampler. Looks like this. Did the same thing, NLS channel. Brought down the gain. Put on a Pro Q3 to get rid of a lot of the weird buzzy low end from the sample that's in the video. And then I put on the C1 gate so that only when the sample is really hitting the highest point, you're going to hear it, and the rest of the time it'll just kind of chop out. And then I compressed it with the CLA 76, which I think sounds pretty good on drums. And it doesn't sound amazing on its own, but once you put it in the mix, it sounds pretty good. And then once I had laid the foundation with a couple things from the sample, I really started to go ham. So the first thing I did is I added a kick from the 730 Matrix drum kit, a snare from the KN Beats Essentials kit, and then I layered that with a clap from the KN Beats Essentials kit. So together the snare and the clap sound like this. I added a hi-hat and some other percussion. Then for the bass, I went into iZotope Iris 2, which is recently free, and I found this one sound called the Classic Fatty preset. So on that, first I did the NLS channel, brought down the gain by about 9 dB. Then I brought on the R bass to give it a boost around 46 hertz and another boost around 139 hertz. Then I brought on the Soundtoys Decapitator to give it a little more analog saturation and distortion. Brought on the FabFilter Pro multiband compressor so that I could expand the low end and compress some of the higher frequencies. Put on the L1 Ultra Maximizer and limiter so that I could just give it a little bit more volume overall and perceive loudness. And the C1 compressor just to sidechain it with the kick a little bit. So that sounds like this. And then later on in the beat, I brought on a different sound from iZotope Iris, which is the preset, the Big Moog. And on that, I did the same NLS channel to start, brought down the gain a little bit, gave it a little EQ just to duck some of the higher end where some of the other bits of the sample are sitting. Compressed it with the CLA 76 compressor. Brought on the Decapitator again to give it a little bit more saturation and distortion. And the R bass at about 40 hertz. And this sounds like that. And then on top of that, I layered another preset from iZotope Iris, the huge rave bass plugin, and I gave that the ozone imager so that for the lowest frequencies I could make it a little bit more mono so it would come a little more central through the mix. And then as the frequency increases, it gets a little bit wider, so you hear it a little wider in your headphones. And I almost forgot about another synth sound that I created from the original sample, where I took the sound of the guy saying, "Mr. Peanut," and I put that in the quick sampler, just took a little part of it, looped it alternating so that it would play it forward and then backwards, so you can't really tell where it loops. And I played that pretty high on the keyboard, EQ'd just a little bit of it, and gave it the waves doubler just to make it a little bit wider in the stereo image. And it sounds like this. And then I just added a couple more effects like this horn stab thing. And some other little parts of the sample like this.
Oh my God.
And that's pretty much everything I did for this week. So without further ado, please enjoy my rendition of Mr. Peanut getting run over at Preston and Steve's Cardboard Classic.
Mr. Peanut.
Well, that's it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the beat and this video. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment if there's anything you guys want to see here or know about in the next video. Follow me on Instagram at dean.thebean. And you can stream any of my beats on SoundCloud or buy them on BeatStars. But until next time, I will catch you guys on the flip-flop.